Boa tarde e bem-vindos uma vez mais ao Check-in Turismo, o podcast da Escola de Hotelaria e Turismo no Porto. Hoje é que eu não gosto, tenho aqui comigo a professora Pilar Vilar, que vem desde Espanha, e porque a professora Pilar é professora de inglês, o resto desta entrevista vai ser em inglês, ok? Pilar, thank you so much for visiting our school.
Thank you for having me.
It's our pleasure, and also for giving the interview to our podcast. And as usual, I would like to start asking you if you remember something different, funny, during your experience as a student, so while you were taking your course.
I remember one anecdote, not as a student, as a teacher, but it made me look as a student, because the first day in our culinary arts school, the first question that a student asked me was how to say in English mandolina. And it's mandolin, but I didn't know what mandolina was in Spanish. So the first question that they asked me, I didn't know how to reply, so I had to ask my students, what's a mandolina? And they looked at me like, oh my God, is this going to be our teacher? Of course, now I remember what a mandolina is, and it's this tool that we use to slice raw vegetables sometimes, and or cheese. And I will always remember that word as the anecdotic thing that opened the academic year for me in our school. And
so you never forget what it is.
I will not. I will not.
Okay. And what motivated you to be an English teacher? What motivated you to study English?
I really liked about English language that it had something that I think most of the people who speak more than one language will understand, which was the ability to make me have like another personality or a broader personality. You get to meet much more people, you have access to much more information if you learn a second language. And I wanted to become a teacher because most of the people who are not good at languages, they end up hating second languages. They are not neutral. They either love them or hate them. And I wanted to be in a classroom just to help students make peace with the language that they did not like.
Okay. And how did you come to teach English in a hospitality school?
It was a bit random, and it was not my first option, but I wanted to be close to my house when I chose this school, and I wouldn't change it now. I love my school. I see it as a very lively place, and also I really like about my students that they are very passionate. I see that in vocational training in general, there are some areas, some sectors that are much more vocational than others, and I think that cooking is one of them. So you can tell students are very passionate when they arrive to the theoretical classes and they go, we're making lobster today, and they tell you, and you're like, okay, good for you. But they want to share all the time their creations, and whatever they do, they're happy about that. Okay.
And so can you share with our audience the name of the school you're working right now, and a bit about the school?
Okay. The school I work in is called the CIFP Carlos Oroza. It's in Pontevedra, quite close to Porto in my opinion. And it's a young school. It opened in 1996 as a high school, as a secondary school. But it changed along the way, and it ended up having only vocational training courses. The courses that we offer are all of them related to tourism, hospitality, and food industries and culinary arts. And we have different stages. I think you only have level 5 here.
In Porto,
And we have level 4, level 5, and level 6, because level 6, I understand that in Portugal is taught in universities, but in Spain is taught in vocational training schools. Also, we are very proud to say that we are an excellence school. which is a recognition that the Ministry of Education in Spain gives to certain schools. And this, as every recognition, is a commitment that makes us be very focused on the quality of our education and to be very close to our values, to our mission, and to our visions.
Okay. So congratulations for that recognition from the ministry. Okay.
Yeah, it's hard. I think it's something hard to keep up as a teacher, because you feel the pressure. It's like having a Michelin star.
Okay.
You have to keep it.
So very demanding
Yeah.
indeed. Okay, but congratulations for that. Yeah. And going back to your career, do you remember a major challenge that you had and that you feel happy about surpassing it?
Yes, the fact that I work in this school is a challenge, as I told you, because I studied English language and literature, but I didn't study specific vocabulary or lexicon related to the sector. So there are certain things that I still have to revise every academic year before starting the year, because culinary arts are very changing, and there's always a new trend, or there's always a new restaurant which everybody wants to go to, or an event, and you have to be updated all the time. And for me, it's something relatively new. I've been 3 years here already, and that's a challenge. Every day is a challenge in school, I think.
Okay. One thing that was not on the script, but I ask you, what about artificial intelligence and the teaching of English? Do you think it will cause a major disruption, artificial intelligence?
I think every change causes a disruption, but the disruption is the reason why we have good results afterwards. We just have to wait for the results, because artificial intelligence has just arrived. So everybody is getting used to it. Everybody is trying to figure out how to use it, how to use it well and in an ethic way.
Yeah.
And we all have to learn, both students and teachers. I personally like artificial intelligence. I use it sometimes in class, but at the same time, I do not use technologies most of the time. I like to use books. I like my students to write, and obviously I like my students to speak.
Okay.
So we rarely use the screens, but when we do, I sometimes ask them, and then after asking them and sharing or debating or discussing our thoughts, we search on ChatGPT and let's see what the artificial intelligence says about this, and sometimes the results are funny.
Okay, very well. And so, speaking of artificial intelligence, now in terms of the evolution of the teaching profession, do you think that in the next 10 years there will be a huge transformation?
I think there will. Actually, there is already a demo program, app. It's an app that they created in the School of Ourense of Innovation. It's called Vetinen, and it's an avatar. It's an app that shows an avatar that you designed. You just choose the profile of that person, the things that person wants, and what the app shows is a guest arriving to the lobby of a hotel, which in the image that you see is the Plaza do Obradoiro in Santiago de Compostela, in the Hostal dos Reis Católicos. And that person arrives and is always willing to have something else, always asking for something else. It's like a difficult guest. And students have to reply to the queries of that person, and the program gives them a result in lexicon, happiness of the guest. I think it has as well phonetics and grammar correctness. So it has
cool.
several skills assessed during that conversation that the student has with the avatar. We started implementing it in our school in January. One of my colleagues, Sandra Aldao, and I, she is a teacher in accommodations, and I am the English teacher in that same group. So we started using it with some of the students. We can't use it with all of them at the same time because we still have to figure out how to do it.
Okay.
But we really like it. We really, really like it.
Okay, cool. And your plans for the future? What you'd like to be doing in 10 years' time?
Oof. Sure say. I hope to visit more schools as I do. I tend to visit one school every year or every 2 years because every time I go to a new place, I learn something. Sometimes what you learn is that you were not doing that badly, and that's important because we usually go abroad thinking that we are not doing great and we are going to learn many things, but then you go abroad and you see, you get to see some mistakes that you have been making, and you identify them easily when you go outside. And also because going abroad makes you freshen up and you come back to your school happy to share with your students and with your colleagues new things.
Right? Very well. And so, based on your experience so far, dealing with students from the tourism sector, I would like to ask you, what do you think are the characteristics that a person should have to follow a course or a career in the tourism sector? Okay,
they should be open-minded, they should be very tolerant, and also they should be quick in making decisions. Because if you are slow when a guest or a client or a diner asks for something and you don't have that something, you have to have something else. So you have to be quick to think about that. And you have to show certain ability to do it, even though if you are not sure. I see that my students, when they are when they are shy, these kinds of situations make them even shyer. But if they are not, they just sort things out and they're quick and they like those types of situations. Also, I think that it is important if they work in the hospitality industry that they have to learn that they work for someone else's amusement. So you can't be you can't show that you are tired, you can show that you are fed up. You have to smile and be happy because you are there to make those people happy. They are spending their free time in your workplace, so make that free time a good time for them.
And lastly, it's not a normal question I make to our guests, but since you're not from Portugal, I would like to ask you, if someone is thinking about going to Pontevedra, but they don't have a lot of time, what would be the 2 places that they should visit in Pontevedra?
I think they should stroll around the old town. The old town of Pontevedra is very beautiful, and also it's a tiny town, so it's manageable. And I think that they should go for a walk around the river, because I think that the water is where the life arises. And the places that have water or a coast, they have a different, a different environment. So I think that's something they should do. Also, they should have lunch in Carlos Oroza. But they have to book in advance.
How long? You want to share the email or phone number?
On the webpage.
They check the webpage. Very well. Ok, Pilar, thank you so much for your
Thank
time,
you.
for your interview and for visiting us once again. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you so much. E obrigado a todos que nos acompanharam neste Check-in Tourism e vemos no próximo. Até breve.